Yo, what's up, and welcome to my bad quality String Awakening showcase. String Awakening is one of the 17,000 Fragments Awakenings. I think that it's fairly good. Anyway, I know that you don't care about my opinion, so I'll save that until after the showcase. First move is Thermal Laceration. In my opinion, it's a pretty bad move. It applies Slight Burn, and it does, I'd say it's probably like 1.5k damage total. Of course, it's a barrage move, so that's if you land everything. Its range is, pretty bad, so it's not that good. It's really not that good of a move. Unless, of course, you, combo it from a barrage or something like that. You're just not going to be able to land this move. Your next move is Silk Prison, which is pretty situational, but if you do land it, it feels very good for one, and for two, it's cool. Let's be real here, who hasn't wanted to use the Doflamingo Birdcage. It does, let's see. That's probably around, again, it's damage over time, so you can't exactly see the exact, probably like 1.5k. Next one is Eternal White, which is, of course, it's a barrage move, so you can't exactly determine the exact damage it does, but it does do pretty high damage. I'd say probably like 500 per one of those. It does very high damage if you do land like any of them. The next one is Heavenly Punishment. Very high range. And if I remember correctly, it does 2,000 damage if you land the entire thing. High range, comes out like frame 3, I believe. And it does extremely high damage, of course. It stun locks, and it's very nice to catch people when they miss a move with a Heavenly Punishment, because, literal punishment. And that is about it for those moves. There isn't many combos you do with this, except for, with something else other than it, or, obviously Obsidian Rifle and, punishment, but still. Any monkey with a brain could figure out how to do that. So there isn't many combos you can do with it, so you're just going to have to depend purely on the fact that its moves are fairly easy to land, except for Thermal Laceration, and it does fairly high damage, really. Now, God's Highway. It's a decent move, but I'd still say it still probably isn't as fast as just like a Meek Dashing. Yeah, it's definitely not as fast as just like a Meek Dashing. But it's still good. It's better than nothing, of course, and it can go in 3 dimensions, unlike Strings V1. So it's clearly just a direct upgrade, and also it looks cool when you're tracking the ground behind you. And that is really it for Strings Actual Awakening. The mastery is, of course, fairly low, with 225 being the highest. You might say that that's high, but I'd say that you're high, because that's super fucking low. And, yeah. The only complaint I have about the moves, other than the fact that Thermal Laceration is about as fucking useless as Sakura, is that all of its moves have decent lag. You can't move during literally any of them, so you're extremely open during all of your moves, especially since it's really not that hard to, miss most of these moves. With Silk Prison, well, it's extremely easy to notice that you're throwing it into the air, so people can just instantly shoot things at you. The only thing which I say might not be able to be cancelled is Eternal White, since you're more focused on dodging the huge pieces of white string that are coming at you than attacking the main guy. But if you can think with a level head, you can easily get comboed by that. Now, into my review, I think that it's a very cool awakening. Probably one of the coolest, probably 3rd coolest awakening in the game, with first, of course, being Gura, second being Dark, and first probably being String. Third being String, first being Gura, second being Dark, sorry. And I'd give it decent 6 to 7 out of 10. You're definitely not going to be, flooring people, unless you're, really good at it. Again, I don't know if I forgot to mention this, but you need very good aim, obviously, like normal String. There's no reason to use normal String over this, unlike other awakenings where there might be some reason to use the non-awakened version, but there's just no reason to use, the non-awakened version of this. All the moves are just objectively better. Or actually, the Z move is probably better than Thermal Laceration, let's be real. Anyway, and that's about it for String. It's a very cool awakening. I don't think that it should have been 17k. I do think that it should need a buff. And yeah, that's about it for String Awakening. Should have got a buff, in my opinion. I think that Thermal Laceration get a straight rework with higher range. I mean, look at this. That shit's lower range than Superhuman's Pounce. And again, it doesn't even do high enough damage to just justify that. It's only good for PvE. And yeah, that's about it for Nexodus's low quality String review. See ya.